Let me tell y'all about the 42-year-old man I started dating when I was 18. And yes, I said dating. That was not my sugar daddy. This was obviously the height of my daddy issues because high school, me and my dad was going through it. So this was when I was really dating old people. Like, I don't know what the fuck. Oh my God. Anyways, I met him when I was 18. I was nearly 19, so like I wasn't a fresh 18. But he had kind of already knew me. He told me he had already seen me around because I went to school with his son. We graduated high school together. And then also his girlfriend's, yeah, he had a girlfriend. I was a side. But anyway, his girlfriend's mom stayed down the street from me. So I had met him like a month or two before I turned 19. I was walking to McDonald's to meet my sister and my cousin, and he had pulled up beside me in a Fiat. So what was I thinking? But he's like, hey, and I'm like, nah, my name ain't A. I'm getting on his ass. Yeah, he drove beside me while I'm walking all the way to the store. Is it giving pedophile? So then when I got to the McDonald's, he's like, yeah, I got some liquor in the car. If y'all want to drink, pedophile 101. Why do they always want to offer you drugs or alcohol? So anyway, I did not, in fact, want to drink, but I gave him my number. And then we ended up linking like maybe a week or two after that. And he told me that he had a girlfriend, but it was nothing serious. He was never going to marry her because he was never getting married, period. And then we ended up fucking on his 18-wheeler, whatever the fuck them shit's called. He was a truck driver. Now, for some reason, he thought he took my virginity, and he still thinks that to this day. He's a fool, because I was a hoe. My body count was so high at that point, I wasn't even close to a virgin. But I ended up effing with him that whole summer, because it was the summertime when I met him. So I was pet sitting at these old people's house, and like he would come meet me at the house, and we would fuck in a basement. Ain't that weird, though? It wasn't even like he kept our relationship secret either. Like, he was taking me out. We was going out in public. Like, he even took me and my best friend out. But the more I hung out with him, the more I realized, like, something's not right with this man. He was childish. He also was in prison for a long time. I think he was, like, in prison for, like, 12 years. So, like, he had the brain of a child. He literally acted like he was 18 his damn self. But at the time, he was probably the most established person I ever dated with. Duh, because he was old as shit. And then, like, he had money. Like, he looked nice. He was a fine old man. Like, he looked good. He knew how to F really, really good. Like, boys my age was not fucking like that, or eating cool cat like that. So I thought I had hit the jackpot until it all came crashing down. We were dating from like June to October, so in October he ended up coming to see me at my dorm, and he was just on some other shit, because by then I kind of realized that he was childish and he was not normal and something was wrong with him. And so he came to see me one day, like he had just popped up at my dorm, and like he was on some RAPE type shit. Like he was not trying to take no for an answer. The only reason I didn't get assaulted is because my best friend had came back because she knew something was wrong. She came back to my dorm room and she started banging on the door. I was trying to KILL that man. I wanted to take him out because I know you just ain't trying to RAPE me. So we ended up going a super long time without talking, maybe like a year or two, and then I've probably seen him 3 times in life since then. He still hits me up to this day. He always be telling me how he took my virginity and he'll always own me or whatever the fuck he be saying, some dumb ass shit. By now he's in his 50s and he still S with young girls, so he clearly was a pedo all that time. I'm a lot older and wiser now, so I do not date old men. I want you young girls to listen to me when I say this. That old man that you're dating is not right. Something is wrong with him. That's why he's dating a little girl. He is a pedophile. His mindset is not on a level of a grown woman. That's why he don't want one. And he's probably mentally challenged. Leave that old man where he is. Like, I'm begging y'all, don't be mean. But there's me. Let me tell y'all about this time this girl came over my house going through withdrawals. If you don't know what withdrawals are, it's something that your body goes through when you're trying to get off substances. Now, this is the end of 2019 when I was living in, according to the police, a trap house. But in reality, it genuinely was not a trap house. We were hanging out at a trap house every single day, but it ended up getting raided. So everybody just ended up coming to my house because we were already all friends, so they were staying over there. Now, keep in mind, this is like 2 weeks after my friend had died. So this is when I was on pills real bad. And everybody really was on pills real bad because we was just going through it. We was dealing with grief. So anyways, my homeboy was messing with this girl. She had been addicted to perks before my friend even died. So she was already on some other shit. So one day we're all chilling at the house and she comes over to see him. Y'all, I swear out of nowhere, she just starts tweaking out. Her body was shaking, she was sweating, she was crying, she was screaming. I was afraid for my life. Actually, I was afraid for her life, but I was afraid for mine too, because, girl, I don't want nothing to happen to you in my house. So then my homeboy asked her when's the last time she popped a perk, and she had told him, I think it was like the day before or whatever, and he's like, yeah, she's going through withdrawals, y'all. It's not that big of a deal. We just need to get her another perk. Excuse me, not that big of a deal. This lady could pass away right now. Like, y'all, I wish I could put the visual in y'all's head of how scary that shit looked. My homeboy so nonchalant. I'm over here rubbing the girl's back, trying to put her in the shower, get her, like, I don't know. I was trying to save the girl. I was trying to be a doctor. And that's a prime example of why you shouldn't mess with boys or men that don't really care about you. Because anybody that's going through withdrawals can pass away. That is a serious thing. And he literally did not care. So at one point, it gets really, really bad. And I'm like, girl, I'm calling 911. You got to go to the hospital. This is scaring me. She started screaming like, no, 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 I don't want to go to the hospital. They're just going to give me fluids, da-da-da. Like, she genuinely did not want to go to the hospital. Then I'm like, let me call your grandma or something. You need help, and I cannot provide it for you. She's like, no, please don't call my grandma. I don't want her to be disappointed in me. Bitch, I'm disappointed in you right now. Like, why would you come to my house going through this? Anyways, they did end up getting her a perk. I don't remember how long it took for her to get better, but it did work. And I was like, OMG, like, you are literally a drug addict. And I swear she was not faking. There's no way for her to fake them symptoms. Like, she literally looked like she was sent to pass away. And the craziest thing is that still was not my wake-up call to get off of pills. I'm going to tell y'all tomorrow what the wake-up call was. But I'm telling y'all, these pills ain't no joke. You might think you got this under control, but you could genuinely be addicted. And the day you try to stop, you could genuinely hurt yourself, end up in a hospital, end up DEAD. This is not no game. Them pills are highly addictive, and most of them are fake. I know some of my pill stories sound fun and like it was a good time, and I can't lie, sometimes it was, but that is not no game. You don't want that to be the reason that you're not on this earth no more. It is serious. So if y'all don't listen to me about nothing else, listen to me about this. Get off them pills. Anyways, there's about the time I walked 2 hours for some DICK. And I'm going to insert a picture at the end so y'all could tell me if y'all think it was worth it. But I really don't care what y'all said because I think it was worth it. Anyways, obviously I was 15 at the time. I don't know why I'm stuck in the summertime of being 15 years old, but yeah, that's what's on my mind right now. I don't know why I was so wild at this time. I do know why I was wild at this time, but I was just wilding out. So anyways, this was when my mom was on her trip. That same time that my dad caught me sneaking that boy in, my mom was gone for a couple days. I don't even know how long she was gone, but I was sneaking and geeking the whole time. I'm talking about the whole time because, like I said, my dad would close us up in a room, and I could get away with murder. Okay, so the boy's name was Jalen. I had met him in 9th grade. He was, like 2 years older than me. So anyways, at this time, we had been messing around on and off for like 2 years out. I actually never stopped sneaking and geeking with this man until he got locked up in like 2021. Like, the last time we messed around was 2020, so damn, that is a lot of years of sneaking and geeking. But my longest sneaky link is 14 years. I'm gonna tell y'all about that eventually. Anyways, I thought he was just the finest man walking, and I still do to this day. I think he is the #1 man on my list to this day, because not only was he fine, his thing was big, and he could fuck really good. So he hit me up on Twitter. Yeah, that was my sneaking and geek app. He hit me up on Twitter, and he's like, come see me. Now, when he told me the neighborhood he was in, I don't think I was prepared for how long of a walk it was going to be. I maybe thought it was like a 30, 40-minute walk. And mind you, when I was young, I used to walk everywhere, all day, every day. And at 15, I would have gone to Antarctica about that ping pong he had at his parents'. And this wasn't going to be the first time I walked to him. And I think he was on house arrest, which is why I had to walk. I don't remember. Actually, he most definitely had a house arrest brace on when I got there. So anyways, I took this walk. Why in the world, like 30 minutes into the walk, that Amber Alert shit went off on my phone? I got scared. I'm thinking, is my mom sending an Amber Alert from me way out of town? I thought she was tracking me. Keep in mind, I had to find these apartments by memory because Apple Maps was not a thing. But I didn't care. I kept on going with my walk. Y'all, it started drizzling and all, but I'm like, I'm already walking. It was hot as hell. It was the middle of the summer. I'm like, damn, I'm determined. But I did. And then like the last 10 minutes of my walk, this boy from school had saw me and he picked me up and he was like, I'll drop you off and you could call me when you want to get picked up and I'll take you home. So anyways, I got to my beautiful man and we did the do and it was worth every fucking step of that walk. I don't care. I don't even think I told him that I took a 2-hour walk. Like, well, he had to know how much time it took me to get there. Anyway, nah, he didn't, because he saw me get dropped off by the boy, and they had dapped each other up or whatever. So anyways, when we got done, I called the boy to come get me. Wow, I had to suck his dick for a ride back home. But, you know, back then I was wilding out, so I didn't care. Like, but yeah, that was sick of me. Anyways, don't beat me ever. At 15, or 30, or 40, or 50. Don't beat me, period. The worst part is I missed Bible study that day doing all at home, but there's me, and there's him. If you're looking for a prison babe, let me know. I will give you his information and put some money on my baby's books. That thing is worth it. That man is worth it. And I don't mess with him no more, so y'all can have. I'm gonna tell you about the time me and my cousin snuck out and got stranded by some boys on the other side of town. I was 17 at the time. I hate saying my little cousin's age on here, but she was 12 at the time. I know, it's insane. But you just had to know my little cousin because she didn't act 12. She acted 17. Or maybe I acted 12. This is my little cousin Tiffany, and she lives in Virginia, but she used to come to North Carolina every summer. And like I said, we used to get into shenanigans the whole time she would be there. When she would be down here, she would stay at her grandma's house. She could not stay at my house because we used to get in trouble. And her grandma's house was kind of far away from mine, so we couldn't walk to each other, so we would make up little plans at night about how to link up, whether it was hanging out with boys or me stealing the car. So one night she hit me up and she was like, let's hang out with some boys so we could see each other. So I was texting this boy already that lived in Greensboro. We had never linked or anything, never did nothing, but we was talking on the phone like every day. So I hit him up and I'm like, pull up on me. He's like, I'm with my cousin. I'm like, that's perfect because I'm with my cousin too. But actually, I'm not with my cousin. Y'all have to come pick me up from my house. Then we have to go to my cousin's house and pick her up. And then we have to find somewhere to hang out. Boys are thirsty, so you know they agreed. So they drove 30 minutes to come pick me up from my house. Then they drove another 15 minutes so we could go pick her up. And then we drove to this high school. It wasn't even the high school I went to. It just so happened to be by her house. At this point, it had to be like 12 or 1 o'clock. So we're all sitting in the car at first, just talking and laughing or whatever. Then we get out and we start walking around the high school. Then those dirty, freaky boys wanted to split up. Now, at this time, my little cousin was a virgin, so, like, we wasn't planning on doing nothing with the boys. We genuinely was using them just so we could see each other. So when they're like, let's split up, we're like, what are we supposed to do? Me and the boy that I had already been texting just started standing there talking, and the other boy who had drove, his cousin had walked off with my cousin. Yeah, when I tell you they literally came back like 2 minutes later, the cousin's like, she wants to switch. Me and the boy are like, what? And my little cousin's like, yeah, I want to switch boys. And I'm like, what? I already been talking to this boy. We is not finna split boys. So I'm like, no, I'm not switching. She's like, I don't want to hang out with this boy. And I was like, so we should just not split up, I think. I don't know. Yeah, the driver got so mad. I guess he was so mad because nobody wanted him, but he was so mad. He started doing the most. I don't remember all he was saying, but I do remember he was calling us hoes. And it's like, we were, but I mean, why do boys always call you a hoe when you're actually not hoeing? Like, this is not the time to be calling me this. I'm actually giving good girl right now. So anyways, he said we could not get back in his car and they left us. The both of them. I don't even know what time it was by this point. But when I tell you I called every single person in my phone trying to get a ride back home. Nobody wanted to come because it was the other side of the town, and they had to make 2 stops. But finally, my homeboy Javon came through. And then we went and hung out with him and his homeboy in a mall parking lot. And that boy wanted me to suck his dick for a ride back home, but I said no. and he still gave me the ride. But by the time I got home, the sun was out. It had to be like 6 in the morning. That's how long we were stranded. And then I climbed in my freaking window, and she climbed in hers, and we both acted like nothing happened, and then we linked up the next day and laughed about it. But anyways, let me tell you about the time I snuck out and it cost my mom her car. Like, she literally did not have a car for months after this. This when I was 17 years old, and back then, me and Essence used to get into all the shenanigans. Like, Glow was always the chill one. It was always me and Essence just acting dumb. So one day, me and Essence came up with this plan. The plan was we was gonna act like we was sitting on the porch. I was going to sneak away and leave to go see this boy, and she was gonna have a boy pull up to the house. Now, we was kids, so he wasn't pulling up in a car. He was pulling up on a bike. Glow went to bed. She was not a part of the shenanigans in no way. The boy I was going to see lived about 30 minutes away from where I stayed. So my homeboy had also stole his grandma's car, and he was going to take me. I went in the house, and I stole my mom's keys, and I gave them to Essence, and I said, if anything happens and I can't get a ride back home, you're going to take the car, and you're going to come get me. I don't remember if her boy pulled up before I left. But I ended up leaving, and I went to Greensboro to the boy's house, and I was there for maybe 10 minutes before she called me. She said that she gave the boy the keys and that he took the car and he hadn't been back yet. I'm like, how long has it been? She's like, it's been long. Mind you, she's hysterically crying while she's telling me this. So I'm like, because now you just ruined my sneaky Lincoln. And luckily, my homeboy was still there, so I'm like, we gotta go back to the house. So I stayed on the phone with her the whole time, and I'm like, bro, call that boy. Like, you got to get him back to the house with that car. And I was like, if you don't get him to the house before I get there, I'm waking everybody up and I'm telling. So then I'm like, why did you give him the keys anyways? Why would you let him take the car? She's like, he told me that he needed to take the car so he could drop his bike off. What in the green? Why would he need to drop his bike off? Mind you, she's hysterically crying while she's telling me this, so I'm getting agitated and more angry by the second. I got to the house, and he wasn't there. So as promised, I went to tell. When I tell you, Essence was acting like a fool when I was walking to go tell. She was literally screaming at the top of her lungs. She went and woke her grandma up. She was like, I'm gonna go to jail. If you know Essence, you know she's overdramatic. If you don't know Essence, just know she's overdramatic. Y'all can try to picture what my mother looked like when I woke her up to tell her that somebody had stole the car. Like, her face went from confusion to angry to knowing I had something to do with it. So anyways, then I explained to her what happened, and she was pissed. Then everybody came outside. My mom called the police. It looked like the neighborhood was out there. It was so embarrassing. I felt like another 40 minutes went by. My mom was still talking to the police, and here comes the boy walking down the street. No car. Sweaty. Out of breath. It was like I watched the fear take over his body. His eyes got so big when he turned the corner and he seen the police and everybody outside. And he was like, the car broke down. The police instantly put him in handcuffs. He was like 15 years old at the time, so they called his parents. Then his parents pulled up. This was going on all night, y'all. The parents was just begging my mom not to press charges. They was like, please, we will make him pay for the car, anything. So my mom, being the good Samaritan woman that she is, did not press charges. The boy, in fact, never paid for the car. I don't know what he did to that car, but it never worked again. It was a total loss. He didn't crash it or anything. It genuinely just, broke down. So my mom didn't have a car for months. She ended up having to buy a whole new. And she tried to say she's gonna make me pay for it, but she didn't. But there's me.